Hi, everybody, and welcome to the second video in this three-part series on the structure of college essays. Our topic here, body paragraphs. Each body paragraph is going to be like one extra step toward proving our argument to be true. So each body paragraph you write should start off with a topic sentence. And topic sentences each then contain one particular reason to prove your point. So if, for instance, totally new argument, let's say something very simple like what your favorite fast food is, if the argument was that In-N-Out was your favorite fast food, your topic sentences might include things like its affordability, the simplicity of the menu, the good customer service, the tasty food, right? All of those things could be particular topic sentences, each one being one additional reason to support the arguments. And from this, after we state that topic sentence, then you would provide some evidence. And so evidence could be in the form of, this could be a quote from a credible source. This could be a statistic. This could be, even providing particular points in logic. This could have a number of different implications, studies, for instance, even case studies. So I'm just going to put etc. And all of that will count as your evidence. Sometimes for a lot of college classes, they'll want you to incorporate other specific sources. And so that's where you would put that evidence in there. All right. Now, it's not enough to just incorporate and pick some really good quotes, because anybody could really do that. The key here is that you need to be able to explain what the significance of that evidence is. And so I'm going to underline analysis, because this is where a lot of great essays emerge, is being able to explain and pull out all of the fine details and reasoning that prove the mastery of the concepts. So the analysis is really the heart and soul of your body paragraphs, because it helps further explain what the evidence is to the reader, because you might find some great quotes, but you can't rely on the actual reader being able to figure out what that stuff means and what you want them to get out of it. That's all just implied or an assumption. And so the analysis allows us to really drive those points home and make those connections for the reader. We want the reader to do as little thinking as possible so that we keep things super clear for them, especially if the person reading your essay or grading it happens to be very sleep deprived and surviving off of coffee, right? So lastly, in a traditional kind of structure like this, you would have something called a link. And the link essentially is a restatement of that reason, for all of these reasons, or In-N-Out's food is very tasty. Something like that would go back to the idea about In-N-Out and having their delicious menu, right? So a good little acronym for you, TEAL, stands for topic, sentence, evidence, analysis, and link. You could kind of think of that as a structure for your body paragraphs. So I'm going to write in here that the link is kind of a summary. It's a restatement of the topic sentence, and it also serves as a closing note to this entire point. All right. So there we go. Now, it doesn't always have to follow this structure, because this is a pretty simple one here. I like to think of this, and I know we were talking about burgers earlier, and so if you bear with me with this really bad drawing, but let's say that this is your topic sentence as your top bun, and then you have your evidence is kind of your tomato and lettuce and secret sauce, that then the meat of the entire paragraph, I guess this is a Wendy's patty here, and let's say this is the meat and cheese, that this will be your analysis, and then following it, this will be your link, but really that's the bottom bun, right? Now that would be mirroring the same kind of idea, this sandwich, that a paragraph is fully self-containing from the topic sentence to the link, the entire reason or point that you're making there. It's like the topic sentence and the link have created bookends or a kind of fence around the idea. You could always, if you had more points of evidence, more analysis to be providing, have a much more complicated structure for a body paragraph. So for instance, yours might resemble something more closely to topic sentence, evidence analysis, evidence analysis, evidence analysis, link, right? Maybe that is kind of the setup, in which case, and I know that In-N-Out, I think, has a limit on how many burgers and cheese or patties and cheese that you can get. I think for people's safety, but essentially you could customize your burgers there, and the same holds true for a body paragraph for us. That how you choose to structure it once you have that topic sentence and link in place could resemble something more like that as well. So there is fluidity and there is customization involved with how you do this, which is why the pre-writing becomes so important for your essay. Because oftentimes, if people hadn't pre-written before they start drafting, what I've noticed is each body paragraph, the first one would probably be much more supported and explained. But by the time we get to the very last body paragraph before the conclusion, we would see a pretty small body paragraph as people have started burning out and not chunked out the work, okay? So for this, then, following our previous idea in terms of paragraphs, this would be 3+, right? So if the intro is 1+, because based off of the kind of topic you're writing, and then in the body paragraphs it's 3+, this would allow us to break away from that formulaic, very simple 5-paragraph essay. Now, a very easy way to break away would be presenting a 4th point, but that's essentially keeping the same structure. If you have 3 or 4 reasons in 4 separate paragraphs, yes, that does break away from the 5-paragraph model, but essentially it's just adding one additional point. It's not nearly as thought out or complex. But if you find your body paragraphs presenting so much evidence and analysis that one specific example you would want to create a whole separate body paragraph on, then that's fine. It might take you more than one body paragraph to fully explain one of your topic sentences, which would be great. I think that would demonstrate the kind of depth of thought that a lot of your faculty members would really appreciate. So some key things to avoid. I guess the first thing, make sure that you are not presenting your best reason first in the structure of your body paragraphs. You always want to start and end with strong points, but I would say in terms of how you're structuring this out, make sure you end on a strong point, because everybody remembers what came first. People remember what came last. So if you have any point in the body at all that is a little weaker, then just kind of hide that in the middle. What else? Make sure that you pre-write, because all of this evidence, all of this analysis really does need to be generated. It's a lot harder if you're trying to write it out and figure out the exact words that you want to say what you mean without having already figured out the idea, because then your brain is having to censor yourself, having to edit and revise at the same time. Whereas if you had already pre-written all of your evidence and analysis, then it's very simple, because you can go off of an outline like this with your own ideas filled in, and then just have to concentrate on figuring out, how do I explain that point to the best of my ability, right? Much simpler process, and I think it'll allow you to get the work done faster. So pre-write, figure out what you're going to use in the body, because that is essentially you proving your point. This is where a lot of essays earn their grade, is in the body paragraphs. And I hope that Teal and the structure of In-N-Out cheeseburgers has helped you. If you do have any questions, please do let me know in the comments. And so up next, we will be dealing with conclusions, so please stick around for that. But thank you, everybody. Bye.